Hey everybody, Anish Majumdar here, career coach to the fiercely ambitious. I want to answer a question I get all the time, which is there a way to figure out if a company I'm interviewing for is toxic on the inside during the interview? In other words, is there a way for me to prevent the nasty surprise of starting a position with the highest of hopes and only finding out once you're actually in there that what you were promised is totally different, and the people that you're working with are absolutely miserable people, and you have to deal with that, right? Is there a way? There are some warning signs that you should be on the lookout for that I think everyone should know, regardless of whether you're in an active job search or not. It's the forewarned is forearmed type deal here. By the way, I have written a post on Ivy Exec on this topic. So some of the tips we're going to be covering, if you'd like a more extended version of that, you want to save that, keep it as a reference. I'm going to drop the link to it after this video so that you can just have that. So really quick, let me share a story of what was for me the most nightmare employer situation I've ever had. The job lasted a grand total of about 35 minutes. It was when I had first moved to New York City. This is in 06. I was taking whatever job I could find. I was just like literally manual labor jobs on Craigslist, passing out flyers, whatever was available, I was doing that because I was just in pure survival mode. I'm thinking probably many of you out there have had a situation or two like that in your lives. So one of the jobs was for moving. It was for helping someone move. I was at a woman's apartment. I show up, and immediately, she takes me in and she goes, here's what it is. The job, immediately I look around, it's way different. It's not a simple moving job. There's all sorts of crazy art, sculptures, pieces, delicate things. I didn't know that, right? I was coming in blind, and this is now a really crazy one. I start working. As I'm working, she's following me around saying, don't do that, that's wrong, don't do that, not wrong. And so I'm getting stressed out, she's getting stressed out. Finally I asked her, I was like, what do you want? What do you want me to do here? And she's like, well, I just want you to do it right. I just want you to do it right. And I'm like, I'd like to, if you could tell me. And so it continues like this. And then she starts freaking out. And she's like, well, you're making me upset. You're making me upset. Don't make me upset. Don't make me upset. It was just quickly devolved, right? From what should have been a pretty cut and dry, I'm going to come here, move things, you pay me money for it, into this whole nightmare, right? And it's one that's not salvageable. And that's the other thing too. I really want to say this. Please understand this. There is no way that you as one person that you're ever going to change a toxic employer or company. It's never, ever, ever going to happen, okay? Because there are people in that company that are making out like bandits because of the toxic nature. So whatever they say about wanting to change things, and don't judge us by what we are when you begin, judge us by what we're gonna be. They're gonna be a worse version of themselves, most likely, okay? Because people are profiting from it. So a toxic place is a toxic place. You or me, none of us are heroes enough to change that. So please know that, okay? So going back to the story, it's like a nightmare, right? It's devolving. She's just following me around, has no idea what to do. I have no idea what to do, to the point where I just say, you know what? It's good. I'm out. And she's like, well, what about your money? And I literally was like, I don't care about the money. I would really rather just leave. And that is a microcosm of what it can be like when you spend a lot of time working for a company that doesn't deserve you. There are companies out there that are going to leave you feeling so much worse when you leave that it would have been infinitely better to have never started in the first place. I work with these people all the time. I work with talented job seekers who started a position with the best of intentions, and at the end of a year, 2, 3 years, they feel psychologically beaten down, and they feel tired, and they feel worn out. The price is much longer than the actual physical time, the emotional stress of working with people who cannot be bargained with. The knowledge that this company is going nowhere, the knowledge that whatever personality type gets ahead will never be you. That wears on you, it wears on your family, and it wears on your life. And it really has this negative effect. And truthfully, it can in fact derail your career. People will spend multiple years trying to recover from that one bad job in their history. So that's what I know. And now I want to give you a couple of tips, warning signs that even the most toxic company are going to have trouble hiding during the interview. So if you can keep your eyes and your ears cocked for them, you're going to be in a position to be able to connect the dots and say, wait a minute, what's going on here? What's really going on here? So here are a couple of major ones. Number one, all right, the stress interview. I don't know if you know about this gem. If you're lucky enough not to have experienced it yet, let me just tell you what it is. It's where they set up an interview with you. They give you very few details. You show up, and basically they're going to try to spend the entire time trying to freak you out. So a stress interview is you sitting in a room. It's you waiting for questions. One person comes in. They're going to be asking you aggressive questions, trying to get you off your game, trying to question your credibility, trying to look through your work history, trying to poke holes in it. That person's going to go. Someone else is going to come in. They're going to repeat the process, escalate the process. Their whole job of a stress interview is to make you feel uncomfortable and to make you feel defensive. My advice to you for that one, it's a pretty easy one. If you come in expecting a normal interview and they start pulling a stress interview on you, I would like you to politely get up and leave. I just want to repeat that. There's no way that you're going to get a stress interview to go your way, because it is a fundamentally rude, insulting, degrading thing to do. So in those situations, I would like you to politely interrupt, say thanks for your time. I don't think that we're going to be a good fit here. I really do appreciate the opportunity. Best of luck to you and in hiring the right person for the job. And you leave. There's nothing more cut and dry than a stress interview to tell you that the company that you're interviewing for is poison on the inside. It's just a horrible, easy, cut and dry answer to that question. So I wanted to just make that clear right off the bat. Another one, ask yourself, has the interview process been a dialogue between me and the hiring manager or me and the employer, or has it been entirely a one-way street? A big warning sign that your needs and your voice is not going to be heard at the company is your voice heard during the interview? You know, are they giving you room to tell your story, to share your perspective, to ask how are you going to contribute to what they're doing? Or is it totally one-sided? This is what we want you to do. This is when you want me to show up. This is when the next interview is going to be. This is what we want from you. Is it them basically dictating to you from on high? Because if you're seeing that early in the hiring stages, that's a pretty good sign that that's going to continue onwards. And I don't know anyone who likes to feel that way. You know, if it's not a two-way street in the interview, it's almost guaranteed that it's never going to be a two-way street if you actually get this job and you accept. So be on the lookout for that as well. Another one, pretty obvious, I think. If there's multiple people, like let's say you're doing a group interview and you notice that people are openly being hostile or playing status games with each other during the interview, that is a huge warning sign, okay? Because if they can't even pull it together to put a united front for the relatively limited time of an interview, I promise you, those things are like the tip of the iceberg. You're just gonna see this morass of poison inside that company if you actually start there. So that's another big, big warning sign there as well. A personal one for me. To me, it's a deal breaker instantly. For others, treat it as a warning sign, but there is no way that this is not a warning sign. If you receive a verbal offer, you, I hope, are going to say, that sounds good. Let me take a look at the written one. If there is any discrepancy between the verbal offer and the written offer, that should strike a major alarm bell in your mind. Because I want you to think about this, okay? It is tremendously expensive to hire someone new for a company. It's a huge expenditure of money and resources and people to make this happen. Almost every company under the sun, once they actually get to the point where they're making an offer to you, they want this thing to work as much as you do. They want this solved so they can move on with their lives. And so in almost all cases, they should be spending more time making sure that there's perfect alignment between what they verbally broach to you and what you have to sign, what you have to look over. If there's not, if they're playing games and they're backtracking on things and they're making you bring that up and actually try to fight for things that were already agreed upon, that is a big, big warning sign, okay? Something is seriously screwed up there, either on the leadership side or on the hiring side. Either way, it's a major, major problem. I'm not talking about typos, by the way. I'm talking about real, like there's a fundamental difference. They were going to offer you this much money. The actual offer is this. They were going to offer you these things included. Those have magically disappeared. That's a big problem, and do not believe it when they say that they screwed up there, because that is one of the most important parts of the hiring process. Big, big warning sign. Finally, another one I want to tell you is, well, two things, I guess. One is, are you being allowed to meet other members of the team, the places that you're going to be working with, or is it restricted to the same one or two people? Are they paranoid about that? Are they restrictive about who you connect with? For example, on LinkedIn, after you meet them in the interview stage, that kind of like dictatorial, big brother-like attitude could be a sign that they're really going to treat you like that afterwards. So it's worth mentioning there. And then finally, underneath all of this, okay, listen to your gut, listen to your intuition. It took me a long time to start listening to it seriously. And here's what I know. Your gut, the impressions that you get during those first couple of minutes meeting people, your gut and your instinct has spent a lifetime piecing together things, reading things, figuring things out. So don't ignore that. If everything else sounds good, if the words sound good, what's written sounds good, but you just can't shake an uneasy feeling about this, there's something that is being kept from you, there's something that feels fundamentally not right, then you deserve it to yourself and your future to keep asking questions until those doubts resolve themselves. And if they don't resolve themselves, that is a good reason for you to bow out. There is no reason that you should feel like you ever have to accept an offer or move forward at a company that doesn't deserve you, that is toxic. That is like, toxic news and it's toxic outlets. The only way to beat those people is to just say, I want no part of that. Your money is no good here. I want something better than that. So I hope that has been helpful. Again, I will drop the link to an Ivy Exec post I've written about this topic that's going to give you the breakdown and give you a more expansive view. Do keep that with you close as you move forward and as you go on into that next stage of your career. Thank you guys so much for watching with me, for listening to me, for learning with me. And if you've had a bad experience with a company, or if you found a way to finally break the chains of a toxic place and make that courageous step to say, this is not good enough for me, I deserve something better, I would love to know. Would you please be so kind as to hit me up, shoot me a comment, shoot me a message on Messenger, connect with me on YouTube, even connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to get a conversation started and hear from you and learn what your experiences have been and what you're struggling with right now. However I can help, that's what I want to do. That's my mission here. Thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. If you like that video, I encourage you to hit subscribe to get other expert tips and strategies that will take your career further.